So 2019 DOST International Publication Award for Geochemical Studies of Thermal Waters from Canlaon Volcano, Negros Island, Philippines. Authors, Raymond Patrick Maximo, Alain Bernard, Catherine Musain, Elisa Joris, and Raul Ryan Rebadulia. From DOST, Region 11. The paper was published in an International Journal of Mathematics in Operational Research. The paper is about a mathematical investigation of raw diversity coefficients among the communities according to species morphometry and species taxonomy. Next awardee is a set of awardees would be from FPRDI. Authors, Marina A. Alipon, Carlos M. Garcia, Elvina O. Bondad. Glue and preservative effects on properties and durability of engineered boards. Published in Philippine Journal of Science. May I request Director Agangan to please join the awardees. The next publication is on properties and utilization of young age Yemane Gemelina arborea for lumber production. Authors are Marina A. Alipon, Pablito Alcachupas, Elvina O. Bondad, and Emeline Cortiguera. The paper was published in Philippine Journal of Science. Palakpak naman po kayo! The next paper was written by Juanito P. Jimenez Jr. and Robert A. Natividad. The title of the paper, Development of Arc Laminated Bamboo Lumber, published in Philippine Journal of Science. Jimenez Jr. and Menandro N. Akda. Tobacco Nicotiana Tobacco stock particles as additive in urea formaldehyde bonded plywood. Published in Journal of Adhesion Science and Technology. Then publications from ITDI. The first publication is entitled Comparative Antibacterial Activity of Commercial Chitosan and Chitosan Extracted from Auricularia species. Written by Orcela G. Bigol, John Paul Matthew D. Guzman, Angela K. T. Chang, Ronaldo R. Frias Jr., and Lourdes V. Alvarez. Published in Biocatalysis and Agricultural Biotechnology. Let's give them a round of applause. It's written by Blessy A. Basilia and Jeremiah Miliare. The title of the paper, Nanobubbles from Ethanol Water Mixtures, Generation and Solute Effects via Solvent Replacement Method. The paper was published in Chemistry Select. The next paper is entitled Dispersion and Electrokinetics of Scattered Objects in Ethanol Water Mixtures. Written by Blessy A. Basilia and Jeremiah C. Miliare. Published in Fluid Phase equilibria. The next paper is again written by Blessy A. Basilia and Mark Christian O. Ke. Controlling the absorption spectra of gold nanoparticles synthesized via green synthesis using brown seaweeds, Sargassum crassifolium extract, published in Key Engineering Materials. The next paper is written again by Blessy A. Basilia, Ruth A. Aquino, Marvin S. Tolentino, Jeremiah C. Miliare, Clarice Balboa, and Christine Julia B. Castro. Title of the paper, Fabrication and Characterization of Electrospun Polysulfone Halocytes Nanocomposite Membrane, published in Material Science Forum. The next paper is written by Blessy A. Basilia, Ruth Aquino, Marvin S. Tolentino, Sidney Cates, Amen, Mary Ann Arceo, and Mary Elaine Dolohan. The title, Preparation of Cellulose Acetate Blended with Chitosan Nanostructured Membrane via Electrospinning for CD Adsorption in Artificial Wastewater, published in IOP Conference Series, Earth and Environmental Science. The next paper is entitled Synthesis and Characterization of Polysulfone Philippine Halocytes Nanostructured Membrane via Electrospinning, written by Blessy A. Basilia, Ruth Aquino, Marvin Tolentino, Neil Carl Arcamo, and John Patrick N. Cara, published in MATEC Web of Conferences. The next paper is entitled Adsorptive Removal of Lead, Iron, from Water Using Cellulose Acetate Polycaprolactone Reinforced Nanostructured Membranes, written by Blessy A. Basilia, Ruth Aquino, Marvin S. Tolentino, Rafael Michael, Philip Elacion, Roberto Ladrilono, and Tony Rose Laurentiana, published in IOP Conference Series, Earth and Environmental Science. The next paper is entitled Thermolytic Growth of 6-sulfide quantum dots in ethylene vinyl acetate matrix utilizing zinc pyrrolidinethiothioCarbamate, written by Mark Christian Ke, Persia Ada de Hiro, Blessy A. Basilia, Ciza Isabel Andal, Patricia Ann Espiel, and Eduardo Magdaluyo Jr., published in AIP Conference Proceedings. The next paper is entitled Surface Modification of Abaca Fibers by Permanganate and Alkaline Treatment via Factorial Design, written by Persia Ada D. Iro, Alisa Gabriel N. Batara, Princess Stephanie P. Lanos, Giancarlo D. Sanglay, and Eduardo Magdaluyo Jr., published in AIP Conference Proceedings. The next paper is entitled Hydrothermal Synthesis of Carbon Quantum Dots from Biowaste for Bioimaging, written by Persia Ada N. De Hiro, Hera Marie Kiachon, Ronald Andrew T. Cruz, Carlo S. Emolaga, Mark Christian Ke, Eduardo Magdaluyo Jr., and Blessy A. Basilia, published in AIP Publishing. Then the last paper from ITDI is entitled Fossil Synthesis of Nitrogen-Doped Carbon Quantum Dots for Bioimaging, written by Persia Ada de Hiro, BJ A. Salon, Blessy A. Basilia, Mark Daniel De Luna, and Pirazak Pioprasert, published in MATEC Web of Conferences. 11 times 60, yung 10, 600 na. Diba no? Tama bang mathematics ko? Plus 60 pa. So alam niyo na kung saan ho kayo mamamas ko. I May I request Director Arcilia to please join the group of the PNRI. The first paper is entitled Antioxidative Nanoparticles Significantly Enhance Therapeutic Efficiency of an Antibacterial Therapy Against Listeria Monocytogenes Infection. Written by Chito Feliciano, Yutaka Ikeda, Yukio Nagasaki, Kazuhiro Shoji, and Shinji Saito. Published in ACS Molecular Pharmaceutics. Then the next paper is written by Chito Feliciano and Yukio Nagasaki. The paper is entitled Antioxidant Nanomedicine Protects Against Ionizing Radiation-Induced Life Shortening in C57BL's 6J mice. Published in ACS Biomaterial Science and Engineering. The next paper is entitled Organogenic Potential of Dendrobium Floral Tissues for Stable Transformation Applications. Written by George R. Sahagun, Anupan Kong Bangkerd Tan Nasut. Published in Philippine Journal of Science. Okay, the next paper is entitled Synthesis and Characterization of Mordenite type zeolites with varying SIAL ratio. Written by Mon Brian Gilly and Marlon T. Conato. Published in Material Research Express. Okay, another paper from Mon Brian Z. Gilly and Marlon T. Conato. The paper is entitled Adsorption Uptake of Mordenite type zeolites with varying SIAL ratio in zinc ions in aqueous solution. Published in Materials Research Express. The next paper is entitled Documented Pupil Eye Color of Mediterranean Fruit Fly as a Tool for Radiation Sterilization. Written by Sotero S. Resilva, Brian B. Barnes, and Glenda B. Obra. Published in Philippine Journal of Science. Same set of authors. The next paper is entitled Radiation Sterilization of Mexican Fruit Fly, Anastrefa ludens, based on pupil eye color. So authors were Sotero, Resilva, Emilio Hernandez, and Glenda B. Obra. The paper was published in Philippine Journal of Science. Next would be, the paper is entitled Development of Calculation Tool for Respiratory Tract Deposition Depending on Aerosols, Particle Distribution. Written by Elisa B. Enriquez, Lorna Jean Palad, Kazuki Iwaoka, Masahiro Hosoda, Shinji Tokonami, and Reiko Kanda. Published in Radiation Protection Dosimetry. The next paper is entitled Adsorb Dose Rates in Air Along the Roads in Quezon City, Philippines. Authors, Lorna Jean Palad, Christopher O. Mendoza, Paulo Tristan F. Cruz, Elisa B. Enriquez, Ryan Joseph Aniago, Chito P. Feliciano, Kazuki Iwaoka, Masahiro Hosoda, Shinji Tokonami, and Reiko Kanda. The paper was published in Philippine Journal of Science. The next paper is entitled Preliminary Development of Thoron Exposure System in the Philippines, written by Lorna Jean Palad, Christopher Mendoza, Eliza B. Enriquez, Christian de la Sada, Fe de la Cruz, Juanario Olivares, Ryan Joseph Aniago, Kazuki Iwaoka, Masahiro Hosada, and Shinji Tokonami. Published in Science Diliman. Palakpak naman kayo. Para mamaya, papalakpakan din kayo, di ba? Okay, next paper is entitled Measurement of Ambient Gamma Dose Rates along 2 industrial facilities in Leyte Island, Philippines. Written by Lorna John Palad o G. Palad, Christopher Mendoza, Fe de la Cruz, Juanario Olivares, Paulo Tristan Cruz, and Kazuki Iwaoka. Published in Radiation Protection Dosimetry. FT-mediated radiation grafting in emulsion. Written by Jordan Madrid, Yug G. Ueki, Lucille Abad, Takeshi Yamanobe, and Noriaki Seko. Published in Journal of Polymer Research. The next paper is entitled Sustained DDB2 and TRX Transcriptional Response. Okay, so the next paper is entitled Sustained DDB2 and TRX Transcriptional Response of quercetin-treated lymphocytes exposed to cobalt-60 radiation. Written by Gloria Maris Caraos, Mary Jane Manrique, Chito Feliciano, Neil Tangana, and Maria Cristina Ramos. The paper was published in Gene Reports. The next paper is entitled Physicochemical Characteristics of Wastewater from Ball Mill Facility and Small-Scale Gold Mining Area of Paracale, Camarines Norte, Philippines. Written by Jesse O. Samaniego and Maria Antonia Tanchuling. Published in Philippine Journal of Science. The next paper is entitled Effect of Radiation-Modified Kappa-Carrageenan as Plant Growth Promoter on Peanut, Arachis hypogea. Written by Lucille Abad, Fernando Arrigue, Joel Recto Montefalcon, Proceso Manguia, Florida Carandang, Sancho Maborang, Mark Hill Hizon, and Matt Ezequiel Abella. The paper was published in Radiation Physics and Chemistry. Okay, the next paper is entitled Hoya of the Philippines, Part 2, Hoya pulchra, a new species from southern Philippines. Written by Fernando B. Arrigue, George Sahagun, Derek Kabaktulan, Reynold Pimentel, Miguel David De Leon, and Michelle Roda. Published in Annales Botanici Fenici. next paper is entitled Multi-Metal Resistant Alkalito-Tolerant Bacteria Isolated from Serpentinizing Fluid-Associated Sediments and Acid Mine Drainage in the Zambales Ophiolite, the Philippines. Written by Don Cardace, Barathi Balyalar, DRC, Mayor Dombard, and Carlo A. Arcilia. Published in Microbiology Journal. We have more entitled Geology, Alteration, and Mineralization of the K. Tanda Epithermal Gold Deposit in Lobo, Batangas, Philippines. Written by Miguel Blamey, Sofia Mara Frias, Akira Imay, Rohei Takahashi, Maria Ines Rosana Balange Tariela, and Carlo A. Arcilia. Published in Resource Geology. The next paper, Geological Survey on High Rare Earth Containing Area in San Vicente, Philippines. Written by Lorna Jean Palad, Kazuki Iwaoka, Christopher Mendoza, Fe de la Cruz, Masahiro Hosada, Shinji Tokonami, Eliza B. Enriquez, Chito P. Feliciano, Enrico Kanda. Published in Philippine Journal of Science. Okay, second to the last paper, Triterpenes and Sterols from Leaves of Hoya melliflua, Myrrh, by Fernando B. Arrigue, Vincent Antonio Nang, Raymond Malabed, and Consolacion Ragaza. Published in Pharmacognosy Journal. And then the last from their group, ang dami nilang publication. Okay, a radioligand receptor binding assay for ciguatoxin monitoring in environmental samples, method development, and determination of quality control criteria. Written by Maria Lorena Raniada, Lisbeth Diaz Asensio, Raquel Clauseng, Carlos Alonso Hernandez, and Marie Yasmin Decaroy Botain. Published in Journal of Environmental Radioactivity. So let's congratulate all the authors from PNRI. May I request Dr. Elumba to please join the awardees on stage. The first paper is entitled Thermal Stabilization and Energy Transfer in Narrowband Red Emitting Phosphor. Ayoko nung basahin yung ano. Julius Lianyo, Tadeusz Lesnowski, Agata Lazarowska, Sebastian Malik, Marek Brinberg, Oshre Shore, and Rushi Liui. Published in Journal of Material Chemistry, C. Then the next is entitled Broadband Near. Pag mga chemical structure, kayo na umaala. Ang kaya ko lang po, genetics. No? Pag chemistry po, nosebleed na po ako dyan. Okay, next paper. Broadband Near Infrared Persistent Luminescence of, bahala na po kayo, After Red Light Charging by Julius Lianyo, Junpei Ueda, Cyril Richard, Kazuki Azami, Setshusha Tanabe, and Rushi Liu. Paper published in Journal of Materials Chemistry. Then the next paper is entitled Impact of Lanthanide Nanomaterials on Photonic Devices and Smart Applications. Written by Julius Lianyo Jr., Jaija Zhou, Zhenju Liu, Dayong Jin, Kaelyung Wong, Rishu Liu, and Jean-Claude Bunz Lee. Published in small. Ang dami ho nilang author, pero yung title ng journal, small. And then control of narrowband emission in phosphor materials for application in light-emitting diodes. Written by Julius Liano Jr., Mu Hua Fang, and Ru Shu Lu. Published in ACS Energy Letters. Then, narrowband emission of nitride phosphors for light-emitting diodes, perspectives and opportunities. Written by Julius Liano Jr., Mu Hua Fang, Ru Shu Lu. Published in ECS Journal of Solid State Science and Technology. Then we have green light excitable CE doped nitro de do magnesioluminate phosphor for white light emitting diodes. Written by Julius Liano Jr., Shin Ying Lin, Agata Lazarowska, Sebastian Malik, Marek Greenberg, Kowloon Liang, Wu Zongshu, Maxim Molokiev, Victor Atuchin, Yuting Chai, Chu Chen-Lin, Huo Shu Shui, and Ru Shi Liu. Published in Chemistry of Materials. Then the last is entitled Disentangling Red Emission and Compensatory Defects of, bahala na po kayo, phosphor. Written by Julius Liano Jr., Agata Larazowska, Sebastian Malik, Marek Greenberg, Ho Shu, and Ru Shi Liu. Published in Chemistry of Materials. 7 times 60 daw po, magkano? 420. Ganun po ba? O meron po ulit kayong pupuntahan na para paskuhan. To please join the awardees from ASTI. The first paper is entitled A Novel Approach or Vegetation Classification Using UAV-Based Hyperspectral Imaging. Written by Tetsuro Ishida, Janucci Kurihara, Fra Angelico Viray, Shilo Baez Tamuko, Enrico Paringit, Gay Jane Perez, Yukihiro Takahashi, and Joel Joseph Mariano Jr. Published in Computers and Electronics in Agriculture. Okay, the next paper is entitled RF Power Amplifier Efficiency Improvement under Antenna Impedance Variation Using a Tunable Matching Network. Written by Mar Francis de Guzman, Paul Timothy Quezon, and Jenedine James Mendoza. Published in 2018 IEEE Region 10 Annual International Conference. Next paper is entitled Compensation of Antenna Misalignment Using Selection Diversity for Maritime Communications. Written by Mar Francis de Guzman, Greco Jervin Cruz, Leandro Miguel Guzman, and Stephen Matthew Cheng. Published in 2018 IEEE Region 10 Annual International Conference. The next paper is entitled Doppler Tolerant Modified P4 Code for Pulse Compression Radar by Neon S. De Jesus and Joel Joseph Marciano Jr. Published in 2017 IEEE International Symposium on Signal Processing and Information Technology. The next paper is entitled Empirical Measurements of Antenna Polarization, Mismatch, and Misalignment Due to Angular Motion. Written by Mar Francis de Guzman, Calvin Artemis Hilario, and Joel Joseph S. Marciano Jr. Published in IEEE Region 10 Conference 2018. The next paper is entitled A Convolutional Neural Network Approach for Estimating Tropical Cyclone Intensity Using Satellite-Based Infrared Images, written by J. Samuel Combinido, John Robert Mendoza, and Jeffrey A. Aborod. Published in International Conference on Pattern Recognition 2018 Proceedings. Next is entitled Predicting Decisions of the Philippine Supreme Court Using Natural Language Processing and Machine Learning by Michael Benedict Bertuccio, Jeffrey Aborod, John Kevin Abonita, Roxanne Aviñante, Ruther J. Copino, Mike Michelle Neverida, Vanessa O. Oceana, Elmer Peramo, Joanna Sihuko, and Glenn Brian A. Tan. Published in 2018 IEEE 42nd Annual Computer Software and Applications Conference. And then the last paper is entitled Resilient Distributed Control of Multi-Microgrid Systems During Failure of Communication Infrastructure, written by Fredmar Azarias and Michael Angelo Pedraza. Published in 2018 IEEE PES Asia Pacific Power and Energy Engineering Conference. May I request Director Capansana to join the awardees from the FNRI. The first paper is entitled Develop Healthy Eating and Lifestyle Program. Help, online website for Filipinos, a case report. Written by Noeline Santos, Edward Vincent Magtibay, Roby Carlo Tan, Marilu Madrid, and Consuelo Orense. Published in the Internet Journal of Allied Health Sciences and Practice. The next paper is entitled Current State of Iodine Nutrition in the Filipino School-Age Children, written by Michael Serafico, Leia A. Perlas, Joselito Rosario Ulanday, Marco De Leon, Marites Alibayan, Josefina Desnacido, Glenn Melvin Hironelia, Imelda A. Agdepa, and Mario V. Capanzana. Published, written by Juanita Marcos, Leia A. Perlas, and Glenn Melvin Hironella. Published in Philippine Journal of Science. The next paper is entitled Characteristics and Risk Factors for High Fasting Blood Glucose among Managers and Government Officials in the Philippines. Exciting po ito Pachona Patalen, Sarah Ginto, Cristilyn Atrero, Applejoy Ducay, Charmaine Duante, and Mario V. Capanzana. Published in Philippine Journal of Science. Of an adapted Radimer Cornell measure of food insecurity in the Philippines, written by Maria Ana Rita Ramirez, Rowena Viahar, and Glenda P. Asania. Published in Malaysian Journal of Nutrition. The next paper is entitled Factors Associated with Overweight and Obesity among Adults 20 years and Over. Results from 2013 National Nutrition Survey Philippines by Charmaine Duante, J. Lord Canag, Chona Patalen, Rovea Ernacel, Austria, Cecilia Cristina Acuin. Published in Philippine Journal of Science. The next paper is entitled Effects of Micronutrient Powder and Complementary Food Blend on Growth, and Micronutrient Status of Filipino Rural Children, a randomized controlled trial, written by Eva Goyena, Corazon Barba, Maria Teresa Talavera, Merlin Paunlagi, Agnes Rola, and Nancy Tandang, published in Malaysian Journal of Nutrition. The next paper is entitled Acceptance and Compliance with Micronutrient Powder and Complementary Food Blend Juice by Filipino Mothers and their promotion by community workers. The paper was written by Eva Goyena, Corazon Barba, Maria Teresa Talavera, Merlin Paunlagi, Agnes Rola, and Nancy Tandang, published in Food and Nutrition Bulletin. The next paper is entitled Evaluation of a Puppet Video on Physical Activity as a Diabetic Education Material for Older Children by Delia Glorioso, Sinaida Narciso, Jerlyn Avilla, and Mario V. Capanzana, published in Philippine Journal of Science. Then we have Association of Household Food Security Status with Mother Caregiver Child Pairs Nutritional Status using HFIAS and FCS, written by Salina Ann Navarro, Glenn Melvin Heronella, and Maria Socorro Ignacio, published in Philippine Journal of Science. The food-based dietary guideline among household meal planners in the Philippines. Authors, Marilu Madrid, Cecilia Cristina Acuin, Consuelo Orenze, Charmaine Duante, Roby Carlo A. Tan, and Mario V. Capanzana, published in Philippine Journal of Science. The inadequate nutrient intakes in Filipino school children and adolescents are common among those from rural areas and poor families, written by Imelda Angeles Agdepa, Dia Deni, Virgilin Ann Obligar, Marvin Toledo, Alicia Cariquiri, Emma Hakier, and Mario V. Capanzana, published in Food and Nutrition Research. Then we have Determinants of Breastfeeding Initiation and its association with breastfeeding practice of Filipino children aged 0 to 23 months by Mildred Ocampo, Girindola, Maria Lionel Valdiabella Maniego, Karen Faye Gaya, and Cecilia Cristina Acuin, published in Acta Manilana. Food intake, nutritional, and health status of the Filipino adults according to occupations based on the 8th National Nutrition Survey 2013, written by Deborah Aguila, Glenn Melvin Hironella, and Mario V. Capanzana, published in Malaysian Journal of Nutrition. Next would be modeling the impacts of a tax on sweetened beverages in the Philippines, an extended cost-effectiveness analysis by Imelda Angeles Agdepa, Mario V. Capanzana, Ashar Saxena, Adam Kuhn, Benjamin Johns, and Lizelle Lagrada Rombua, published in Bulletin of the World Health Organization. Next is supplementary feeding utilizing Climate Smart indigenous vegetables from school gardens with iron-fortified rice, improved nutritional status of school children, written by Imelda Angeles Agdepa, Mario V. Capanzana, Clarita Magsadia, Emilita Oro, Maria Cristi Jesusa Tacuge, and Julian F. Gonzalez, published in Philippine Journal of Science. Then the last, nutrient intakes and food sources of Filipino infants, toddlers, and young children are inadequate. Findings from the National Nutrition Survey 2013, written by Imelda Angeles Agdepa, Mario V. Capanzana, Marvin Toledo, Juliana Donoho, Alicia Karakiri, and Leah Denny, published in Nutrients. These are all the publications, IPA from FNRI. Then we have tapos na po sa FNRI. We now have one from Pag-asa. May I request the head of Pag-asa to please come on stage? So the title is Observed and Model Temperature and Precipitation Extremes over Southeast Asia from 1972 to 2020 by Thelma Cinco, Wee Kyung Chong, Bertrand Timbal, Nicola Golding, Sidup Sirabaha, Kok Fu Kwan, Bullard Agchevaro Huprok, Van Ho Vo, Dodo Gunawan, and Shui Han, published in International Journal of Climatology. We now go to the DOST Utility Model Registration Award. The first would be for the wrought iron forming equipment by Isidro Millo, Ronnie Alamon, Raymond De Ocampo, and Laureno L. Dalay. From MIRDC. Utility Model Registration Number 2-2016-000892. And then we have the hand tractor with transplanter attachment apparatus by Isidro Milo, Ronnie Alamon, Raymond De Ocampo, Laurieno Dalay, and Emerito V. Banal. The next would be water removal through a freeze-drying machine by Joseph Raymond Alvarez, Jose B. Ferrer, Melchor Valdecanas, Oliver Evangelista, Lorencito Bacatang, Romel M. Belandres, Isidro Milo, and Ronnie Alamon. So they have 3 from MIRDZ. Then, Utility Model Registration Award from FNRI, Instant Food from Taro by Joyce Tobias, Benefrida Lanes, and Maribeth B. Encarnacion. Then we have complementary and snack foods using high pressure, high temperature extrusion by Charlie Adona, Joyce Tobias, Mario Cabangbang, Nina Joy Reytana, Oliver James Orculio, and Filoteo Di Ponte. Processed instant lumpia spring roll sauce by Joyce Tobias, Benefrida Lanes, and Lydia M. Marrero. The gluten-free pasta noodles by Joyce Tobias, Cecilia Kindara, Mario C. Kamongbang, and Alfie Capule. Okay, next would be ready to drink beta-carotene rich juices by Winifrida Lanes, Maribeth Bautista. Sample daw po. Ready to drink beta-carotene rich juices. Next would be Process of Making Boiled Dehulled Sorghum Flour by Joyce Tobias, Omar Peñarubia, Ian John Castro, Charlie Adona, and Rex Castante. Modified sorghum starch and process of making the same by Joyce Tobias, Ian John Castro, Charlie Adona, Omar Peñarubia, and Rex Castante. From ITDI, first would be method for making spray-dried blood food product by Maria Patricia Azanza, Maria Dolor Villaseñor, Joanna Marie Magora, Karina Saldana, and Valerie Faye Remoraza. The award with the highest number of DOST Utility Model Registration Awardees for 2019. It's a tie. So the award goes to Food and Nutrition Research Institute and Industrial Technology Development Institute. Next would be process for producing flavored or unflavored edible oil infused with capsicum protescens, siling labuyo by Maria Patricia Azanza, Maria Dolor Villaseñor, Joanna Marie Magora, Ana Patricia Condemilicor, and Romel M. Belandres. Next would be method for the production of spray-dried micro-encapsulated cucumber by Maria Patricia Azanza, Maria Dolor Villaseñor, Joanna Marie C. Magora, Karina Saldana, and Oliver Evangelista. Next would be method for making food-grade bile from ruminant livestock with improved shelf life by Maria Patricia Azanza, Maria Dolor Villaseñor, Joanna Marie Magora, and Karina Saldana. Next would be an aerobic sequencing batch reactor by Maria Tansenko, David Herrera, Judith Tejano, and Jose Ricky Beraye. Then second to the last would be the process for the preparation of chitosan calcium carbonate composite by Imelda Ongo, Candy Valdecanas, Bernard Jude Gutierrez. The next utility model, they have the same set of authors or researchers. Chitosan calcium carbonate composite for oil spill remediation. Imelda Ongo, Candy Valdecanas, Bernard Jude Gutierrez. So we will now be giving away the 2019 DOST Best Institute Award. Tarararan! Wala ba diyang ano? The institute with the highest number of DOST International Publication Awardees for 2019 goes to the Philippine Nuclear Research Institute.